What is up, YouTube? Welcome back to another episode of the Universim Season 6 Death Mode. Coming straight into another wolf attack, and yes, the wolves are going to go straight through the exile village, town, whatever, city. And you can see the barracks are already out. 2 defenders. That's 2 down for us. Maybe 3. Yes, so we lost 3 nuggets to 7 wolves, I would imagine. Very shortly we'll be wiping those off the map. All of the exiles, hopefully, though they will come back. But this planet is too small, and it's now proving difficult. We're at the stage where we need to build glass factories, steel factories, electronics factories, fuel refineries. All of them buildings are huge. Now, on the large world maps that I play on, didn't really think much of it, but placing them down on this map is quite daunting. There's a lot of space required for those buildings, and things like the airport and the spaceport, I dread to think if we're even going to have room by the time we get there. But again, the plan here is to move the entire planet to Andromeda. I am aware, by the way, of the comments. There was a message left by one of you, so thank you for that, where the battery doesn't spawn on the starter planet. It's a bug with the Halloween world, and it does in fact look like that isn't there. So I may or may not be able to get the planet destroyer, the that quest. However, it shouldn't, and I'm just thinking now. Yeah, so completing the game, you need that to do it technically to get the credits, but we can see if we can get around that. I'll see what I can do. Else we'll just have to play it the way that we played it before. The end credits and the whole destroying that original planet is, to be honest, it's almost too easy. It's not even worth doing. The planet cracker itself is a good tool to have after the fact, but just using your 3 or 4 abilities on them pylons is a bit crap. The cutscene's cool though, but we've already seen it a few times, so there is that. Right, I'll jump ahead to outside of winter because it's ugly, too white. There is a volcano going off. You just saw that in the background. I don't believe that has actually done anything to us yet, which doesn't matter anyway because there's nothing we can do about it, even if we could. So even on a normal game mode where you're allowed to use all your wrath spells nor your defensive spells, there's not much you can do against a volcano. Whatever that meteor type rock thing it fires out, debris that it fires out hits, is dead or destroyed. So it doesn't matter. It does matter for the rest of them though, so specifically for like the tornado is the most devastating one so far. It seems every time there is a tornado it rips through the centre of our base, and of course everything other than the bunkers is destroyed in its path. We can rebuild, but it's just a resource drain, so it's not like a destruction to the point that you can't continue. It's a bit soft like that. It would be good. I don't know how they would do it though, because by the game's design, you've got the resources, you can build it right. Just trying to clear up a few rotten corpses here because we are, of course, getting infections from it. But it is under a shield, so I'm not allowed to use my spells nor pick them up. So I think this is where I decided that we need to wipe them off the map and make a bit of space for ourselves. I have already been round previously before I started recording and put down the cemeteries. So cemeteries should be good in terms of coverage. You can see here we have the nuggets ready to go, 40 of them. So I will, of course, send them in. Now, the place that we're going into, you can see they already have people mingling in our village. They're using our paths, so that's why they were shot there. And we'll go straight in and destroy them as such. The timer on the map, sorry, the UI, with 1 minute to go, is for these attacking us, and unfortunately we do actually they do get that off before we finish them off. I don't know if we destroyed this sort of base and all their villagers before the timer ran out, would it stop? That I don't know, and I don't think I've ever got anything. Yeah, I mean this is about as close as we've ever got, and to be honest, even with wrath spells it'd be a bit difficult here. I wouldn't be able to do a meteor strike because I don't have enough creator points anyway, and the lightning wouldn't do anything. Now, they've wiped out the actual settlement, the people within that settlement, reasonably quickly, and now they're just going on to buildings. But you can see it does say that they are targeting us. And up on closer inspection, once again, another tornado. And as I said, only, what, I don't know, 2 minutes ago, they seem to be the most devastating of all. Now, it's going to go across the water. And once again, this must be the third time I've lost nearly every water pump, I think, give or take. But yeah, it's going to push through and continue to do so. And I'll just speed it up a little bit for your benefit here so that we don't have to sit and wait. We know what happens. It's going to plummet through, right through the centre of town. Now, again, as you can see, all I'm doing is going in, following behind it, and all of the buildings I am just rebuilding. And once we get the resources, they'll be back to how they were. One thing I didn't realise by doing this that will come to bite me in a short while is the town hall was one of the buildings knocked down. The town hall is the building that allows us to populate any completed buildings, and as such means that as soon as that was knocked down, we now have no automation, so anybody dying or any new buildings completed won't have a worker associated to it without me stepping in, which is minging at this stage of the game. At this point though, I did decide to wipe out the other two as well, so I want to just wipe them all off the face of the map, and then I can remove them from the command, so remove them from the military, and gain 40 nuggets back to the city settlement to do other jobs. I didn't, however, anticipate for a new exile village to spawn after I'd done all of that. But that's another problem for me in the future. Yes, a blizzard came. I probably should have spotted it, but to be honest, again, it's really difficult to make this game difficult, if that sentence makes sense. The worst case scenario here is we're going to get a few people turned into ice cubes, nuggets turned into ice cubes, which can be fixed with a fire spell, which I cannot do. So that's why I just decided to do nothing, because I would hope that they would melt themselves over time, or they'll just stay as ice cubes for the rest of the game, which would be hilarious. Anyway, it's what it is, and we know we need to keep moving forward. So we're going to keep wiping out this village settlement as we go, the exiles, and along with the other one as well. And once we've annihilated both of those and we have a clean map, we can then start using some of that space for us. Now here is a prime example of the mess it makes. And you can use your telekinesis spell to pick up all these bodies. Unfortunately though, the amount of bodies that are here are far too many for a cemetery, or at least the first level cemetery. The upgrade doubles the storage, I believe, and of course they do burn the bodies, so they don't stay there forever regardless. But if you go along here, and when I find it, I can't see the wood for the trees at the minute. I've gone past two that I've seen, but yeah, it looks good, but then you can see there's one space you think, oh, it wasn't too bad, and then I zoom in and realise, oops, there's corpses everywhere. Now, I'm not even sure if you can put their corpses into my graveyards or what. But suffice to say, a bit later on we come back to this area and it is all cleared out. So whatever happens, happens. There's a few infections going on, and it is a night. With this whole HP changing thing, you can't do the spam that I'm used to and get all of the poorly people to the top. You have to do it max HP by max HP, and you can see there's 75s, there's quite a few sick ones, so we'll do them. And by 75 I mean 75 max hit points. In terms of research, by the way, I am rushing right down the middle for the research. I am doing so because the wheels are not doing anything. So that's not correct, they are, but they're crap, we all know this. And I think anybody that did comment on the kinetic wheels were sort of under the impression that why would you even? And yes, I agree. Why I'm even doing it is because it's the most difficult way, because they're it's almost like having no power. So yeah, you can increase them from 30 to 50, I think it is, but that's a guaranteed death for the nugget at the end, so not the greatest thing to do. So yeah, we're going for the nuclear power plant, only because between the nuclear power plant and the solar panels, the nuclear power plant has negatives, whereas the solar panel really doesn't, apart from it doesn't work in the dark, which isn't a negative. And I just feel like we can have the nuclear power plant go boom, and also it requires fuel, which we're not even at the point of making fuel yet. So, but nevertheless, I am rushing that down to get that additional supply of power, because one power plant will give us 1,000 once it's fully staffed, which I think was 12 nuggets off the top of my head, and that will be more than we need, a lot more than we need, almost 2 to 3 times more than we need currently. So that will be a solution to at least make it less painful, though not quote unquote easy. This is when I realised that the town hall was the thing that was out, and you can see the purple icons blobbing up around where I'm looking, but there are a lot all over the planet. A couple of buildings like the glass factory and a steelworks, I believe, are both finished but can't be staffed because, well, they can actually, I could just do it myself, but I'm lazy. Out of the population, 423, we do actually have a good quarter of that available to work, so that is good. And just as a side note, if you keep hearing like the horn sound, which is the alarm, and then immediately it stops and you hear the pop-up, that is where a nugget turns into a zombie and they are immediately shot and killed by one of the guard towers. So that is definitely a step forward, plan forward. Of course, if you wanted to play along by any stretch of the word, if you was crazy enough to want to do this, I would suggest let's try to do this without guard towers next time. Of course, Season 7 is liable to be a whiles away just because there's not really much happening in terms of updates or changes. Mods aren't really making the game changes yet. All the mods I can see are making it easier, i.e. cheats and things like that. And that's something I don't need. I don't need it to be easier, that's for sure. So we shall see, but we've still got Season 6 to do. And again, the idea here is to move the entire population to Andromeda and make Andromeda our main planet. And either can this one or make it have 0 nuggets as a end goal. Of course, other planets will be visited as well if the series lasts that long, depending on views and the likes, of course. And there we go. So straight away I am going to put in the governor, which should sort out all of the jobs across the city. And I'll also put some ministers in as well. I was looking there to see if it actually saw it drop, but you don't. You have to come off it and back on it again to see it actually change. Also, I got it set at 75%, and that's nowhere near high enough. Realistically, 85, but I always end up going to 90 regardless of what I do. And then I'm going to do all of the ministers apart from the energy one. Because I know I do need energy, but putting 100 of them kinetic wheels down still won't work. Because half the time the duplicates, no, nuggets, there we go, are doing other things. Another wolf attack coming in, aren't we lucky? This time we have no barracks and no military at all. Luckily though, the hunters are classed as defenders and they will come out and defend. So very similar to the infantry in the barracks, they will come out and defend. They won't defend against exiles though, I don't believe, only animals. But I could be wrong there. However, the hunters also give us food, so I am going to build a few more so that we've got a bit of defense from the wolf attacks, but also we get some more food in. And I really need to get a little, I don't know, section of the cattle farms in so that we can get some food that way. There's a lot of mammoths. I can see them on the map now. Amazingly though, when I actually did the cattle farms, I couldn't find any frigging mammoths. But anyway, it doesn't matter. So we'll get them in, get them built in, and hopefully they'll be done shortly. In terms of resources, I'm not sure if I've showed it much, but we are massively gated by glass. Again, everything else seems okay at the minute. Wood's a little bit low, but we have 3 places making that, so I'm not too worried. Glass, however, is a bit scarce. Okay, so jumping forward a little bit now, out of winter, but also about 20 or so days. ahead just to show you where we're at. Everything is going nicely. The hunters are done and working as expected. You can see here is my cattle farm area, 5 of them. I haven't got 4 of them running though because it took ages to get the deer trained, and if it did tell me, I missed it. So yeah, I'll just put deers across the board there. It's not too bad. Obviously I would rather have mammoths, it's more food, but this is probably one of the first times as well that I don't have many herbs, so I'll need to make sure. Now we have less herbs than usual because there's a lot more hospitals. Last season, if you remember, we did the whole thing with just 1 hospital. This time there's many more hospitals. And what I'm going to do actually is get a couple of farms planted as soon as possible, and then farms will be actioned specifically to grow herbs, and then of course they'll turn it into food and do it that way. Doing herbs from a farm into a cattle farm for food is much more efficient than just growing food directly from an actual food farm, if any of that makes sense. Now you can use the kickstart whip thing on these, and they do run for longer, but you don't gain any additional power from it. And again, if you change it from regular mode to extreme mode, they likely, I'm sure it's high 95%, will die, and that's when they stop. So they won't stop until they die. Of course, up to you, but I don't really be wanting to chewing through nuggets because the difference of an extra, what is it, 15 power? Because I'm sure that dropped down to 35. Yeah, 35. So they give 35 normally, and you get an extra 15 to kill them. It really doesn't make much sense to me. At some point, very, very far on in the research, we turn them into the space age ones, and I think it doubles up to 70, but that's still crap. But by then, of course, we'll have nuclear power, and I won't... What I'll probably try and do is I'll get rid of all of the kinetics and just have a nuclear power plant or 2. And just bring you back to show that I did put the farms down. I didn't forget. I was in this area, and then I just moved on and just got, I don't know, distracted. I'm easily distracted, like the can't remember, is it A Bug's Life with the fly and the light? I don't know, a bit like that. Anyway, we'll get them in. Once they're finished, I'll obviously switch them over to herbs. Both of them are planted on grassland, I made sure, because that's the best for the herbs anyway. Got to be careful you don't put them on stuff like rock, because even though there are rock plants, you can't plant them on the rock area. You have to plant them on the stone. It's I don't know. Now the what they're called, shelters are ready to upgrade, but there is a lot, and they need glass, and I think I've got about 20. So I'm going to hold off on that a little bit and make sure everything gets caught up. I want to see that glass number down in the bottom there around the 30 or 40 mark before I start doing anything else. As it stands, it's showing as 9, but I know I need a lot more than that. Just coming back here now, off camera, while I wasn't recording, we had the cutscene for the UFO thing, you know, where you get them and they come and take 2. Basically the build up to get you to the planet Cracker where you have to defend against it. That is going to be the next episode for sure. I said yes, and then they came back again and asked for 5. I said yes. I can't do anything else because I can't defend myself. We are very close now, as you can see, in terms of, in fact, we are now selecting the power. So we do have that. There's a lot of research skipped. Again, as I mentioned, that's intentional. Once I've got the nuclear power plant researched, I'll then go back and do that first. I'm not going to go ahead. I'll go backwards and catch up to where we're at and then continue to go into the space age. Then hopefully we can move all of these people nuggets to Andromeda, because it is a cool looking planet and I would like to see a city on it. And it is a large planet as well, if not giant, can't remember, but it's certainly bigger than this one, and this one is really struggling for resources. I am getting some gas, you can see that, but there is only about 4 decent patches of gas on the entire planet, of which I'm already tapping 3 of them. One of them is a bit too far away at the minute. But we are at the end of the episode now, so thank you very much for watching. If you like the video, please click like. Any comments are welcome as always. Join us on Discord, subscribe for more. Take care, goodbye.